Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Brother Sid of the Commandment Keepers Church. We have a detailed broadcast for our brothers and sisters internationally. The title of today's broadcast will be The Rise of the Woke Agenda. The Rise of the Woke Agenda, brothers and sisters. Today, we will address what many consider one of the most immoral periods in the history of civilization. Okay, governments worldwide have adopted what we have called the woke agenda, imposing this ideology among their citizens. Okay, so today we will closely examine the morally questionable ideas that have become culturally accepted in our modern day culture. Why? Brothers and sisters, various institutions, regardless of their industry, have been influenced by demonic forces to promote debaucherous, immoral behavior publicly. Okay, guess what? The United States, brothers and sisters, the United States originated the woke ideology. It is the birthplace of woke ideology, which has since been spread among all other global powers. Okay, beware, brothers and sisters. State legislators are now authorizing individuals to change the gender listed on their driver's license, with 3 listed options available for gender selection.
Good morning. Californians who don't identify as male or as female will have a new option on their driver's licenses. Senate Bill 179 adds a new gender category called non-binary which is marked by the letter X, and this is going to be on again driver's licenses and state IDs. Governor Jerry Brown signed the Gender Recognition Act back in October to make it easier for people to change their gender on their state IDs and also on their birth certificates. Advocates say that this expands the rights of the LGBT community because individuals will no longer need a court order or proof of physical treatment to legally change their gender. Now, again,
brothers and sisters, follow us to the book of 1 Corinthians, the 3rd chapter, the 18th and the 19th verses. The title of today's broadcast, The Rise of the Woke Agenda. Okay, we're at 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 18, and it reads, "Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seem to be wise in this world, let him become a fool that he may be wise." Let's take a look at that one more time. 1 Corinthians 3 and 18 reads, "Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seems to be wise in this world's standards, let him become a fool that he may actually become wise." Verse 19 reads, "For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God. For it is written, he takes the wise in their own craftiness." Take a look at that, brothers and sisters. 1 Corinthians 3 and 19 reads, "For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with God." Brothers and sisters, according to the Bible, the intelligence and understanding that are taught in schools are incompatible with God's wisdom. See that? The Lord highlights here, right, that academia would be influenced by the devil. Why? When we analyze this verse attentively, brothers and sisters, we see that Paul is accusing higher education institutions of marketing poison to their students. See that? He says, if you're wise in this world, how do we determine intellect in this world? Right? Degrees, grades, right? School. Okay, according to the Bible, most of the best educated people are atheists. They're non-believers in God. Why? Academics has propelled them in that direction, brothers and sisters. And this is the point that Paul is magnifying here. Okay? The people who are called intellects and philosophers in today's day and age usually are atheists. Okay? Usually you have to reject God. You have to reject known biblical principles in order to be considered an intellect, right? A public intellectual, as they call, an influencer, as they call. Okay? Notice Paul cautioned. He cautioned that institutions of higher learning would evolve into centers for nurturing atheism. See that? The text is clear. If you have visited any American universities recently, you have observed that the curriculum appears to be influenced by a very poisonous, demonic, malevolent force. Okay, and that's what Paul was warning us here. This particular passage, or these passages, are crucial. Why? Parents need to examine the curriculum in these schools, okay, from grade level all the way up to university. Okay, this passage is crucial for parents with school age children because it suggests that universities, grade level schools are what? They are poisoning children with indoctrination, with woke ideology. And we're going to discuss it today. We're going to discuss it today. Here we are in 1 Corinthians 3 and 18. And the Lord says, in order to truly be wise in the eyes of God, you have to reject the wisdom of this world. Okay? Think about that, brothers and sisters. The passage suggests that to genuinely attain God's wisdom, one must be prepared to dismiss. You must be prepared to dismiss the knowledge offered by government-run educational institutions. It's that serious, brothers and sisters. Okay, these passages emphasize the importance for parents to stay informed about their children's school curriculum because it often conflicts with biblical values. Okay, and guess what? Many parents failed to notice that during a debate with conservative influencer Charlie Kirk, 25 college students struggled to define what a woman is.
Yeah, my next claim is that trans women are not women. Okay. What's your name?
Sam.
Nice to meet you. Let's define our terms. A woman is an adult female with XX chromosomes. You tell me, what is a woman?
I think a woman is somebody who identifies as a woman.
Got it. So that's not a definition. That's like saying a table is something that identifies as a table. Give me an objective definition of
No, it's not. A table is an object.
Well,
a table can't identify as anything. It doesn't have choice.
You have to give me an objective definition of what a woman is.
If I decided right now that I wanted to identify as a woman, I would be a woman.
Okay, but that doesn't answer the question.
I know, but right now I'm a man, right? So if that happened right now, I would be a woman. So once a person makes the decision to identify as a woman,
got it. No,
they're a woman.
That's a separate issue. What is a woman?
That's the definition.
No, I know, but you have to tell me what.
A person who identifies themselves as a woman.
But you have how do you know that they are that thing?
How do I don't need to know what they are. I can ask them if I want to know.
But there needs to be, you need to tell me what that thing is, though.
Somebody who.
Okay,
sorry, we're not getting anywhere. We're not getting anywhere.
Well, no, it's important because it's like saying a giraffe is a thing that looks like a giraffe, or a coyote is a thing that looks like a coyote. It's called circular reasoning. You have to give me a actual definition.
I don't have to. I did give you a definition.
No. You said that a woman is something that thinks they're a woman. That doesn't give me a definition. That's simply.
What would you consider a definition then?
An adult female with XX chromosomes.
No. I mean, like, what makes that a definition?
Hello.
Hi.
Juliana?
Juliana,
I remember,
yeah.
Okay.
I don't necessarily think that you can define a woman just by her chromosomes. Women are so much more than that. They come in a variety of shapes, sizes, colors. And I don't necessarily think that you can count out somebody who's trans just because they don't have a certain set of chromosomes. There are also people who are born, I'm drawing a blank.
Okay. Intersex?
Yes.
So XXY or YYX?
Or just, or like sure. X0 with nothing.
So natural mutations upon the binary, essentially, right?
Yes. So,
but they don't have both sex organs that both operate, right?
Yeah, but that also I don't think necessarily works, right? Because if it's X,
one
just
is more
X,
dominant
and
than
there's
the other. So
okay,
you're either more male or more female, right? So you might have both a penis and a vagina, but there's never been a case of someone who can impregnate themselves.
Okay. I also don't necessarily think that works for this situation, but I also want to say that one of my best friends is trans, and I would say that she's more of a woman than I am. I think that women define themselves by multiple things, not just their sex organs. If somebody asked me who I was as a woman, I would not say I have a vagina.
Totally fair.
I would.
No, I think you said something smart. So you said that person is more of a woman than you are. Therefore, you're grading off a definition of something accomplishes womanhood. What is that?
I think well, that's the thing too. And I do think that gets a little complicated, right? Because there are social norms for a gender, but I do think we try to break that, right?
No, for sure. But you said that specific friend is more of a woman than you are. Why?
I think she's a better person than me. I think she lives life.
So women are better people?
she's a better woman than I am. I'm not saying women are better people.
But what makes a woman? Because you said she's more of a woman than you are. So I want to know what that definition is.
Right. Okay. I'm going to let somebody else go.
All good.
Thank you.
Parents are investing tens of thousands of dollars to enroll their children in a poisonous education system. Okay, many of these liberal universities function primarily as centers for democratic liberal indoctrination. And parents need to be aware of this. The universities, brothers and sisters, these universities are encouraging students to dismiss common sense in favor of letting their political views shape their beliefs. Okay, and God is not happy. Okay, and we're going to talk about it. Why? Parents are pouring tens of thousands of dollars into an educational system that is fundamentally flawed and detrimental to the well-being of young people. Okay? Its system is broken. Why? Usually you go to college so you can make more money in the system. But in order to make more money in the system, you have to first allow the government to indoctrinate you. See, that's the game, brothers and sisters. That is the system. Okay, these universities create an environment where students are exposed to a curriculum and campus culture that emphasizes progressive viewpoints. Okay, so we want to talk about it today. Why neglecting active parenting today could harm your children. Okay, it's essential for parents to stay informed with their children's education. Okay, we're going to magnify that point today. Why? Most college-educated young people today struggle to provide a clear answer to the basic question of what defines a woman. Follow us to the book of Psalms, the 25th chapter. Okay, we're going to read verse 4 and 5. Right, the title of today's broadcast, The Rise of the Woke Agenda. We're at Psalms 25 and 4, and it reads, "Show me thy ways, O Lord. Teach me thy paths." Verse 5 reads, "Lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art the God of my salvation. On thee do I wait all the day." Wow. Brothers and sisters, let's take a look at this because the psalmist really highlights something here, right? In today's woke world, they say truth is relative, but according to the Bible, truth is not relative at all. If truth is relative, then there is no truth, right? We're living in a culture, we're living in a time where there is no truth. Let's take a look at this one more time. Psalms 25 and 4 reads, "Show me thy ways, O Lord. Teach me thy paths." Verse 5 reads, "Lead me in your truth. Lead me in your truth and teach me. Why? For you are the God of my salvation." Take a look at that. The passage reminds us that God, rather than the education system, is the ultimate authority on truth and morality. Okay? We're not allowing the school system, we're not allowing academics to define what is true for us. Okay, notice the psalmist emphasizes that truth originates from the Bible, not from educational institutions. And we're going to make sure we highlight that point today. Why? Notice here that God teaches that we should assess the truth of something by considering the credibility of its source. See? I determine whether I believe something by the credibility of the source. So these passages emphasize that truth does not originate from dictionaries, doctors, or universities, but rather from God's word. God's word is what determines what is truth. And we're going to discuss that today. Why? Why, brothers and sisters? These indoctrination centers called universities are filled with atheist instructors, and the ideas they promote originate from Luciferian philosophers. Okay? We're going to discuss it. Why? The Bible cautions that in the end times, perceptions of truth would shift, which is why we must depend on God's word as the source of righteousness, as the source of truth, as the source of credibility. Okay? The passage suggests that we can only discover truth by being open to submitting ourselves to God's word. Notice that, brothers and sisters, in verse 5 in the 25th verse, what do we see? What do we see? The text says, lead me in your truth. See that? The only truth that matters is God's truth because he created everything. See that? So truth can only be understood by those humble enough, those who are humble enough and willing to submit to God. Notice he says, lead me in thy truth, right? If you don't allow God to lead you, there's no way you can ascertain what truth is. See that? So the emphasis, the psalmist emphasizes a humility that allows you to fully understand truth, right? Consider that. Brothers and sisters, do not be ignorant of the fact that it is the Ivy League schools that are the primary organizations advocating for the woke movement. Wake up, okay? The same institutions that charge $100,000 for an education are endorsing falsehoods as true, okay? And we're going to talk about it today. Why? Many young people and their parents are totally unaware that Ivy League universities embrace progressive liberal ideologies. Okay, Columbia University, a highly regarded institution in the United States, requires its students to adopt LGBT pronouns.
Pronouns are used in place of a person's name. While many use she, her, and he, him pronouns, a growing number are using other pronouns like they, them, ze, them, ze, here, per, pers, and am.
Some people are comfortable with multiple pronouns, regardless of their gender, identity, or expression. If someone's pronouns are she, they, that's just a quicker way to indicate that a person uses she, her, hers, and they, them, theirs pronouns. Others do not use pronouns for themselves and wish only to be referred to by their name.
You can't know a person's gender by just looking at them. Asking for and using correct pronouns is a way to respect those around you and create an inclusive environment. This is especially important for queer and transgender people. If you slip up and use the wrong pronouns, simply correct your mistake and move on. Intentionally misgendering someone by refusing to use the correct pronouns or name is a violation of the Columbia University non-discrimination policy. Words matter. Even unintentional errors can create challenges. Research shows that using someone's correct pronouns has a big impact on their mental health and well-being.
Columbia University is single-handedly undermining every grammatical norm that made English great. The Ivy League universities are the primary institutions pushing this woke ideology, pushing this woke agenda. Okay, here we see Columbia University, one of the most prestigious schools in all of the United States of America, promoting the use of pronouns, destroying the English language. Okay, the majority of the highbrow, prestigious white colleges are supporting these liberal ideologies, and we just have to say it. Okay, Columbia University is undermining the fundamental grammatical principles that have historically defined the English language, and we're not going to allow it. Okay, we're not going to allow it. The Ivy League universities are the primary institutions advocating for this woke homosexual agenda. We're going to expose them today. Why? Most young people and their parents are totally unaware. They're totally under-informed. Okay? They're totally uninformed that what? It is the Ivy League campuses that are home to progressive liberal LGBT ideals. Okay? Okay, brothers and sisters, Columbia University, one of the most famous schools in the United States, requires students to use LGBT pronouns openly. See that? Think about that, brothers and sisters. Liberal universities like Columbia have destroyed the English language by teaching the misuse of words. They've taught their students to ignore grammar, right? Think about that. The government has infiltrated the education system, promoting a satanic ideology that opposes God, brothers and sisters. And we're going to break that down today. Why? The issues that we see in Columbia University extend far beyond universities, okay? We find this also in state-funded grade schools, which are also endorsing these destructive beliefs, okay? Remember, brothers and sisters, Donald Trump admitted that he was aware of the government's promotion of satanic and LGBT beliefs in state-sponsored education. Okay, remember, Donald Trump warned the American people that the federal government had influenced state-sponsored schools by paying them to promote LGBT.
Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children. My Department of Education will inform states and school districts that if any teacher or school official suggests to a child that they could be trapped in the wrong body, they will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding. As part of our new credentialing body for teachers, we will promote positive education about the nuclear family, the roles of mothers and fathers, and celebrating rather than erasing the things that make men and women different and unique.
Brothers and sisters, follows to the book of Proverbs, the 28th chapter and the 28th verse. The title of today's broadcast, The Rise of the Woke Agenda. We're at Proverbs 28 and 28, and it reads, when the wicked rise to authority, men hide themselves. But when they perish, the righteous increases. Take a look at that. Proverbs 28 and 28 reads, when the wicked rise to power, men hide themselves. But when they perish, righteousness increases. Take a look. Take a look at that, brothers and sisters. This passage reminds us that when immorality becomes accepted, it results in the oppression of the poor. Okay, according to the scripture, when the wicked hold authority, they always attempt to weaken the power and influence of men. See that? That's why the passage says men hide. See that? It's highlighting an environment and a culture that weakens men. See that? If someone is attempting to destroy a society, they first have to weaken the men. See, and that's what this passage highlights. When the crooked and corrupt monopolize authority, they actively began to elevate women above men. They began to make women more influential. Why? Remember the garden. Remember the garden, brothers and sisters. The serpent did what? The serpent wanted Eve, the woman, to be the predominant decision maker of the family. Think about that, brothers and sisters. The governments that are in place today have followed the path of that slippery serpent. Think about that. In this particular passage, the Bible warns us that corrupt governments would utilize legislation to impose their authority in a manner that oppresses the populace. Okay? Okay, brothers and sisters, the text suggests that these governments will enact laws that serve their own interests. Okay? They don't care about the well-being of their citizens. Think about that, brothers and sisters. This passage is very clear. When the wicked, right? When the atheists, when those who are against God, who are in opposition to biblical values, take on roles of leadership, the text is very clear. Okay? The text is very clear. They're going to look to influence the man to become docile. Okay, they're going to elevate the authority of the women, and they're going to train the men to be docile. That's what this passage tells us. Okay, the Bible serves as a profound reminder. Okay, a reminder of what? Living in accordance with God's principles, brothers and sisters, provides a greater sense of freedom. Okay, when we were a biblical society, when we were a quote unquote Christian society, citizens had more freedom. Okay, now we're living in an ungodly society. You have no freedom, right? You have no freedom to say what you want. Right now, if you say something that the algorithm disagrees with, they put a fact checker on it. See that? This is what happens when you allow Satanists to rule to power. Right now, you're not even allowed to be untruthful. At least when God's word is king in a country, you're allowed to be untruthful. Now, there'll be consequences for it. You're not even allowed to have an opinion in this society. Okay, and we're going to discuss it today. Why? Hollywood, brothers and sisters, Hollywood and the federal government are closely intertwined because both entities actively champion the rainbow lifestyle and the leadership of women. Okay, across the nation, schools that receive federal funding are engaging in secretive practices that promote the homosexual lifestyle. It's as clear as day. Okay, these educational institutions are subtly integrating messages and curriculum that normalize same-sex relationships and transgenders. Okay, let's talk about it. Why? Government-funded schools do not allow teachers to inform students' parents about any suspected mental illness or diseases. Okay, think about that. If a student is suicidal, as many LGBT members are, teachers are not allowed to inform the parents. Okay, don't forget, there was a sister who approached the school board after her elementary age daughter was persuaded into changing her gender at school.
Hi, for those that don't know me, my name is Aurora Regino, and I am the mother that filed the lawsuit in federal court against Chico Unified for transitioning my daughter without my knowledge. I'm here today to tell my story so parents and the public know what is going on in our schools. Last year, my 11-year-old daughter was in elementary school here at Chico Unified, and her elementary school transitioned her from female to male behind my back. Shortly before this happened, my father had recently passed away, and I was diagnosed with breast cancer. My daughter was distressed and began questioning her sexuality, so she decided to reach out to a wellness counselor at her elementary school. The day my daughter shared with her guidance counselor that she felt like a boy, the counselor immediately affirmed this new identity. From then on, the counselor continued to have one-on-one meetings with my daughter without my knowledge. During one of those one-on-one meetings, my daughter told the counselor she wanted to tell me about her new identity. The counselor ignored her requests and did nothing to support her in letting me know what was going on at school. Throughout her transition, my daughter changed very quickly, was bullied, and as a result, was very unhappy. And because her school kept this transition a secret from me, she was on her own. I'm a busy working mother, just like the rest of you. Before this happened to our family, I would have not believed this was going on in our schools, especially at the elementary level.
Brothers and sisters, followers to the book of Psalms, chapter 119, we're going to read verse 98 and 99. Okay, we're at Psalms 119, verse 98 and 99, and it reads, "Thou, through your commandments, has made me wiser than my enemies. Thou, through your commandments, has made me wiser than my enemies, for they are forever with me." Verse 99 reads, "I have more understanding than all of my teachers, because thy testimonies, your word, is my meditation." Brothers and sisters, let's examine this. This is prophetic. Psalms 119 and 98 reads, "Thou, through your commandments, has made me wiser than my enemies, for they are always with me." Verse 99 reads, "I have more understanding than all of my teachers." I have more understanding than all of my teachers, because your word is my meditation. Brothers and sisters, the Bible revealed that Satan would influence educational institutions in an effort to indoctrinate young people. How do we know? The Bible says when you take God's word out of school, children become what? Children become open game to predators. Notice that. The passage said we're smarter than our enemies by embracing God's word. This is the exact reason why the federal government made sure that they remove biblical principles out of the Bible, out of the schools. Okay? This was intentional, brothers and sisters, right? The Bible suggests that in these prophetic times, students would possess more common sense than their teachers. That's why the text says, I have more understanding than my teachers. Why? Teachers are pushing political ideology. Okay? They're pushing political ideology, and they're allowing the political ideology to determine their beliefs. Okay? The psalmist suggested that the educators and the curriculum in the publicly funded schools are influenced by demonic forces. Okay, open your eyes, brothers and sisters. The Bible indicates that Satan would infiltrate the education system in an effort to normalize Satanism within society. Think about this, brothers and sisters. The title of today's broadcast, the rise of the woke agenda. What do we see here in Psalms 119, brothers and sisters? According to the Bible, Satan would infiltrate academic institutions in an effort to brainwash children. Okay? And our channel is here to help brothers and sisters, to help our audience to keep up to date with what's going on, because all of us are busy, brothers and sisters. All of us are busy. All of us are working. All of us have children. And because of that, the enemy has tried to take advantage of us being so busy. And our church, our channel is here to keep you up to date with what is going on secretly in society. Okay, notice here the psalmist warns us that in order to advance the LGBT culture, Satan would first utilize the government to remove the Bible from classrooms. See that? Think about that. The Bible provides insight into the notion that Satan would exert his influence over educational institutions with the intention of indoctrinating young people. Okay? For those of you who know about Brown versus Education in 1954, when the federal government started to get involved with curriculum, okay, and what children were learning, there has been a deliberate attempt to shape the beliefs of the youth through educational institutions, brothers and sisters, and parents cannot allow this. Parents cannot allow this. Why? These institutions serve as vehicles for spreading ideas and ideologies that are contrary to biblical teachings and principles, without any shadow of a doubt. Okay, and notice, brothers and sisters, the psalmist implies, right? The psalmist implies that individuals responsible for the curriculum in publicly funded educational institutions is manipulated by satanic and atheistic forces. Okay? So who is influencing the academia? Who is influencing the academic curricula in these state-funded schools? God tells you here they're atheists. Okay, because in verse 99, he says that we're smarter than our teachers by having knowledge of the Bible, which would clearly indicate the teachers have no knowledge of the Bible. And that was intentional. Okay, academia was infiltrated as a part of a broader strategy to normalize and integrate LGBT beliefs into the very fabric of society. See that, brothers and sisters? There are transsexual instructors, okay, which means that we have individuals with mental illnesses in charge of instructing children. Okay, and the media deliberately tries to downplay the predatory behavior of transgender teachers all across the world.
This is a video captured by a student at Oakville Trafalgar High School showing a teacher instructing the class on how to use a saw. The teacher has been documented on several occasions with what people describe as very large prosthetic breasts with protruding nipples that are clearly seen through form-fitting clothes. The teacher's appearance has been the subject of reports from the New York Post and network news in the States. Students tell CHCH that this is a constant topic in class.
The entire school. Like, every single class that I'm in, the teacher is, like, the topic. Like, it's, yeah. I don't know, like.
And obviously the teachers have no say over it.
It's just, I'll be walking in the hallways and I'll see her walking around. It's kind of discomforting to be in a school environment with that.
The Halton District School Board says they're not taking any action against the teacher, saying they want to create a safe learning environment and, quote, ensure a safe and inclusive environment for all students, staff, and the community, regardless of their race, age, ability, sex, gender identity, gender expression, sexual orientation, ethnicity, religion, cultural observance, socioeconomic circumstances, or body type or size. Adding that, quote, gender identity and gender expression are protected grounds under the Ontario Human Rights Code, a statement that students say contradicts the school's own dress code that they have to follow.
It's ridiculous.
Why?
I think it violates the dress code completely, and it's completely inappropriate.
The thing is, in the dress code for HCSB, like, it says you need to wear opaque clothing. There are pictures even of the teacher where you can completely see her nipples, even the color of, like, you can see the color, you can see the shape. It's ridiculous.
Satan has given his disciples instructions to join the teaching profession in order to have an impact on future generations. Okay, satanic covens universally, ubiquitously advise their disciples to become teachers in order to significantly impact the culture of society. Okay, and we have to wake up to this, brothers and sisters. Teachers are presenting young people, children, with poisonous ideas, and as a result, society is becoming more and more godless. Okay, these warlocks and wizards are targeting children, and the best way to influence children is by becoming teachers. See that? Satan has issued a deliberate directive to his followers, urging them to strategically seek out roles within the academia system. Okay, academics, brothers and sisters, has been infiltrated. Wake up. Wake up, brothers and sisters. Satanic covens actively encourage their adherents to pursue careers in the field of education. Why? Brothers and sisters, when Luciferians infiltrate teaching and academic leadership, it allows them to exercise a significant influence over the beliefs of the next generation. Okay, this godless culture has even reached medical schools where puberty blockers and gender surgeries are being administered to young children.
Top medical schools in North Carolina are offering social transitioning treatments for children as young as 2 years old. Duke, UNC, and ECU have these programs, which allow for treatments for children that suffer gender dysphoria. The Education First Alliance exposed the experimental treatments. Founder Sloan Rackmuth and board member Dr. Nancy Anderson both join me now. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Sloan, I want to go to you first. Tell us, you guys, your group has exposed this, but how bad is it?
Well, it's really bad. We've been told for years by the left that this isn't going on. And if it is, it's maybe 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds here and there. But it is going on. You're right. In the state of North Carolina, well known, by the way, for its wonderful medical programs, we have Duke, which transitions children at 2. We've got UNC, who transitions children at 3. And then ECU has just added a program that is saturating not only rural health communities, but also schools, and they start at 4. I mean, these big systems cover the entire state of North Carolina, and they're doing it in family medicine. That's right, your corner doctors, their aim is to turn these places into pill mills for children, as young as 2, starting with the social, and then moving with the hormones and so forth.
Brothers and sisters, follow us to 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14, and it reads, "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Be ye not unequally yoked with unbelievers. For what fellowship has righteousness with unrighteousness? And what communion has light with darkness?" Let's take a look at what Paul says here, brothers and sisters. 2 Corinthians 6 and 14 reads, "Be ye not unequally yoked with unbelievers. What fellowship has righteousness with unrighteousness? What communion has light with darkness?" Brothers and sisters, the Bible advises us against forming unequal partnerships with those who do not share the same beliefs. Okay, an unbeliever refers to someone who does not accept Christ as their Savior. He says, if you try to fellowship with that type of mindset and ideological stance, it will affect your spiritual well-being. Okay, and guess what? This is relevant to various aspects of life, including business collaborations, right? Including who we choose to send our children to learn from, including the businesses we choose to support. That's what Paul is telling us. The Bible reminds us we have to separate from cultural unbelievers. If we don't have the same ideological stance, I need to find people who do. I need to find companies who do. Okay, this concept that Paul is breaking down here should extend to the businesses and organizations we decide to support with our patronage, because our choices, brothers and sisters, should reflect our values. The companies we support should reflect our values and principles. Okay, and that's why Paul stresses the need to investigate these companies, right? Examine it. Paul stresses the need to thoroughly investigate these companies. Why? Many of them do not align with biblical values. Okay, if I see Starbucks, let's just say, I don't go to Starbucks, but let's just say they're flying a rainbow flag out in front of their flagship store. I'm not going to go into there and say, hey, let me get a pumpkin spice latte. Okay, if I go into a Chinese food restaurant and I see a Buddha statue there, I'm not going to walk past a Buddha statue and say, hey, let me get 5 wings and fried rice. Okay, Paul emphasizes the importance of consumers being informed about the ethical and moral principles and practices of the companies we interact with in today's society. Okay, we have to take a stand. Why? By grasping the values and practices of these companies, brothers and sisters, we can make choices to do what? To reflect our own beliefs and principles in our spending habits. Okay, this concept should influence the individuals we select to educate our children as well, right? You and I need to know the beliefs, the religious beliefs of the educators teaching our children for 8 hours a day. That's what Paul is telling us here. Okay, why? The text is clearly highlighting the significance of being aware of the teacher's religious preferences prior to enrolling our children in their classes. So brothers and sisters need to get involved here. I know, a lot of us are busy working, right? Being parents, being husbands, being wives, but Paul is very clear here, right? Paul is very clear here. The passage highlights the significance of recognizing the religious beliefs of the educators and teachers responsible for our children's education. You cannot think an atheist teaching your daughter, your son, 8 hours a day is not going to affect his development. Okay, only somebody who's totally oblivious to the world could believe that. Okay, Paul emphasizes that a teacher's beliefs plays a crucial role in shaping the educational atmosphere in which children receive their education. Okay, that means if I see a BLM flag in my son's class, he's being removed immediately out of that class. If I see a Rainbow Coalition flag flying in the classroom, outside the classroom, if I see the teacher wearing a rainbow pin, immediately thereafter, I'm going to remove my child from that class and place them somewhere else, okay? Think about this, brothers and sisters. The text emphasizes the importance of parents being involved in their children's education by understanding the teacher's philosophical ideologies. Okay, we have to look into that, brothers and sisters. Why? Many parents ignored the survey distributed by state-funded schools nationwide on the first day of school, which inquired about the students' use of pronouns.
A debate over pronouns has popped up in Bluffdale after some 6th graders there were apparently asked in a survey what their preferred pronouns were.
Yeah, this happened at Mountain Point Elementary. It caused quite a stir on social media. Lincoln Graves live outside the school. And what are you learning about all this, Lincoln?
Yeah, Mark and Heidi, this is a localized take on larger conversations that are happening around the country. I spoke to parents on all sides of the issue today. Some don't think those questions about pronouns are a big deal at all. Others believe kids in elementary school shouldn't be discussing those things in a school setting. Now, regardless of opinions on that question, though, I did find agreement in support of the teachers here at Mountain Point.
This is the form shared with us by parents, where students could circle their preferred pronouns. Pretty harmless to Chris Schwert.
I don't have any issues if they were to ask my son what his preferred pronouns were, or anyone at this school.
But concerning for Brittany Adamanzik, who I spoke to over the phone.
Schools are for learning, and so if there's issues that you want your child to be aware of, then that's something that can be taught in your home.
The Jordan School District wouldn't agree to an interview, so we asked how it happened and what the policy is about asking kids their pronouns. A spokesperson didn't answer those directly, but in a statement they said in part, there were questions in this survey regarding a student's gender. The questions would have required parent consent. The district says the survey was part of a time capsule project that's now been scrapped.
The Bible emphasizes the importance of understanding the religious beliefs held by the teachers we entrust with our children's education. Okay, remember, a teacher's beliefs will influence the educational environment and the moral framework within which our children learn. Okay, so we have to discuss that. It is essential for parents to engage with their children's educational environment, understanding the philosophies that their teachers bring into the classroom, brothers and sisters. Okay, the title of today's broadcast, The Rise of the Woke Agenda. And what have we seen? We've seen that this is entrenched in academia. Okay, we had Donald Trump openly confess that the federal government has been secretly inundating children with these harmful, poisonous ideologies. Okay, follow us to Proverbs 4:14, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, follow us to the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, verse 14 through 16. Okay? Proverbs 4:14 reads, enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Verse 15 reads, avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. Verse 16 reads, for they sleep not except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause some to fall. Take a look at this, brothers and sisters. Proverbs 4:14 reads, enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. Verse 16 reads, for they sleep not except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away unless they cause others to fall. Take a look at this, brothers and sisters. In this particular passage, the Bible provides a cautionary message regarding the potential perils associated with immersing ourselves in a sinful environment. Okay? It emphasizes the importance of being aware of the influences that surround us. Why? They often affect our overall spiritual well-being. Notice that's what he's talking about here. Right? He's talking about the culture. He's talking about the environment you choose to be around. Okay, why? It's essential, brothers and sisters, that we take a proactive measure to safeguard ourselves and our children from adopting any ideologies that do not align with the teachings of God's word. See, that's what Solomon tells us here, right? Solomon advises us that it is wise to be discerning about the companies we support, the friendships we cultivate, the television networks we choose to watch. Okay? If you permit your children to engage with television networks that promote and embrace satanic ideologies, it is highly likely that they will be influenced in satanic ways. Okay, and this is what Solomon was actually highlighting. This was the principle of what Solomon was highlighting. Okay, Solomon informs us that we must guard against adopting any philosophies that are at odds with God for the sake of our children. See that? Any businesses, acquaintances, or television networks that do not share biblical values should be shunned, according to Solomon. These passages suggest that television networks that support homosexual lifestyles should be shunned. Why? They're likely to promote other immoral values as well. Okay, television serves as a tool for Satan to infiltrate our homes, aiming to influence us through mainstream programming. Okay, parents should be mindful that even the BBC channel, typically regarded as an educational channel on cable TV, is now advocating for transgenderism among children.
The BBC is telling children aged 9 to 12 that there are more than 100 different gender identities. In Identity, Understanding Sexual and Gender Identities, a video made by BBC Teach for use in classrooms, children ask questions about sexual orientation and transgenderism.
What are the different gender identities?
That's a really, really exciting question to ask. Do you know there are so many gender identities? So we know we've got male and female, but there are over 100, if not more, gender identities now. So we know that some people might feel like they're two different genders. So people might think they're bi-gender. And then you've got some people who might call themselves genderqueer, who are just like, I don't really want to be anything in particular. I'm just going to be me.
The video also included a transgender activist who was born female but identifies as a man, and a lesbian head teacher who promote their own lifestyles to the children. The accompanying resources suggest various activities inviting children to discuss and explore sexuality and gender.
Brothers and sisters, follow us to the book of Ephesians, the 6th chapter and the 12th verse. The title of today's broadcast, The Rise of the Woke Agenda. We're at Ephesians 6 and 12, and it reads, For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Let's take a look at this one more time. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12 reads, For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Brothers and sisters, the Bible indicates that Satan is utilizing influential individuals in society to advocate for a lifestyle that aligns with Satan. Notice what he says here. Notice what he says here, brothers and sisters. Wickedness in high places. Right? You're wondering why they're trying to indoctrinate children? This isn't man's idea. This is Satan's idea. Okay? And Satan can't perform anything on earth without people who are willing to help. See, this is what Paul was writing. Okay, the Bible suggests that lawmakers are influenced by Satan, which has led to society's acceptance of homosexuality. Okay, the Bible indicates that the prevalence of wickedness that we observe in today's society is consequence of spiritual warfare. See that? The Lord says, don't be so trusting. Spiritual warfare is what we're seeing. Don't trust your children to watch any television program. You're engaged in spiritual warfare. Don't allow your children to go to any school. You're engaged in spiritual warfare. This is what Paul is highlighting. Don't forget, this is war. Okay, spiritual warfare. Think about it. The Bible suggests that demonic influences hold significant positions within global power dynamics. That's why the text says there's spiritual wickedness in high places. That means in powerful places, in influential places, there's spiritual wickedness. That means there's people that are worshiping the devil in some of these high positions all throughout the earth. Okay? Examine that passage. Examine how powerful this passage is. The text implies that attaining the highest political offices in society require a readiness, a willingness to cooperate with demonic influences. See that? If you're not willing to bend the knee to atheistic teachings, atheistic ideologies, you will not, according to this text, find yourself in positions of influence and power. All of the influencers today are what? Entrenched in this woke ideology. Every last one of them. They don't choose people to be influencers. They don't pay people to be influencers unless they've already been indoctrinated into the woke agenda. Okay, the Bible indicates that individuals who openly declare their loyalty to Satan often gain significant influence in society. Okay, the Bible emphasizes the importance, the significance of relying on God's word to combat the prevalent wickedness in today's culture. This is spiritual warfare, brothers and sisters. Okay, and warfare isn't just fisticuffs. It isn't just physical combat. Okay, and this is what Paul is telling us. It's spiritual warfare. It's not physical. Okay, you don't have to worry about somebody coming to punch you in the eye. You have to worry about your children being indoctrinated through Instagram. See that? You have to worry about your wife being indoctrinated through hip hop love, right? And all those shows. See, this is what Paul is magnifying. The Bible implies that the acceptability of homosexuality in society is a result of the influence of Satan on today's lawmakers. Okay? We live in a society that aims to confuse children, which is why there's a push for gender-neutral toy aisles. Yes, many parents are unaware that California law mandates the existence of gender-neutral toy aisles in all major toy retailers.
All right, we told you we'd tell you. California is now the first state in the country to require a gender-neutral children's section at large retailers. This new law requires stores with 500 or more employees to sell some of their toys or childcare products outside of traditional boys and girls sections. News Nation correspondent Marky Martin explains.
Let toys be toys and let kids be kids. I respectfully ask for I vote.
California this weekend becoming the first state to say large retailers must include gender-neutral sections for kids' products, such as toys and hygiene items like toothbrushes. The law does not outlaw traditional boys and girls sections or include clothing. The move hailed as a win for LGBTQ advocates who say traditional marketing methods pressure children to conform to gender stereotypes.
Kids have these years to figure out who they are and their gender identities. These years are hard enough without boys and girls sections trying to conform their heart in a little box.
Voices on both sides of the fight speaking out at this Judiciary Committee meeting earlier this year. Republicans and conservative groups in opposition see the move as another example of government overreach. In 2015, Target announced it would stop using some gender-specific signs inside its almost 2,000 stores. And today, Lego pledged to remove gender bias from its toys after a report found 71% of boys feared they would be ridiculed if they played with girls' toys.
If he chooses, a puzzle with something girl on it, it's what it is. We just buy it anyway.
Satan is strategically employing prominent figures within society to endorse a way of life that is in direct opposition to morality. Okay, the Bible suggests that the widespread moral decay that we witness in today's culture is a direct result of ongoing spiritual warfare. Okay, brothers and sisters, the text that we have seen here in Ephesians 6, what do we see? The Bible indicates that the presence of demonic influences plays a pivotal role in shaping the dynamics of power on a global scale, not just here in the United States, but on a global level. Okay, that means that in order to reach the pinnacle of political power and hold the most prestigious positions within a society, you must be willing to engage in unethical influences. Period. Okay, the growing acceptance of homosexuality within society can be traced back to the influence of Satan on lawmakers and those in positions of authority. See that? You're wondering why they need gender-neutral toy aisles. It's spiritual, brothers and sisters. Parents have to wake up. Parents have to wake up. Remember, brothers and sisters, in many U.S. states, lawmakers are now permitted the issuance of gender-neutral birth certificates for newborns. Gender options on birth certificates now include more than just male and female.
Don't need a doctor to tell you who you are.
City Council Speaker Corey Johnson describes a landmark proposal that will allow people born in New York City who do not identify with a specific gender, whether it be male or female, to choose X, a designation that would be added to their birth certificate.
This groundbreaking legislation will make New York City birth certificates more inclusive for all and will send a powerful signal to the world that New York City government works for everyone.
The bill expands on 2014 legislation passed by the City Council that scaled back the requirements for New Yorkers seeking to change their gender. Since then, 700 New Yorkers have amended their birth certificates.
The age of applicants ranged from 5 years old to 76 years old, and 41 individuals were under the age of 18.
Currently, parents in New York who don't want to identify the gender of their newborn can classify the sex of their child as undetermined or unknown.
Brothers and sisters, follow us to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 11. The title of today's broadcast, The Rise of the Woke Agenda. We're at Ephesians 5 and 11, and it reads, Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. Think about this, brothers and sisters. Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. Consider this, brothers and sisters. The text teaches that overlooking evil only serves to support it. Okay, remaining silent about wickedness contributes to its promotion. See that? Think about that. The Bible instructs us that as children of light, as believers, we destroy evil by speaking out against it whenever we come across it. See that? Too many believers have remained silent during this woke agenda. Okay, the text emphasizes that ignoring evil only helps it to thrive. See that? Remaining silent about it only allows it to spread further. And yes, you hear vigor in my voice, brothers and sisters, because when I see children being exploited, when I see brothers and sisters being indoctrinated, a sense of righteous indignation comes over me. And it should you also. Okay, if you could see all of this indoctrination and this exploitation of young people and feel no righteous indignation, I would have to question if you're even a believer. Are you even a believer? Because the text is clear. In this passage, Paul talks about the options we have in our interactions with the world. That means we can either participate in it or we can choose to expose it. That means if I don't speak out against it, I'm actually participating in it. Okay, so as believers, it's important to recognize that turning a blind eye to evil only allows it to grow stronger. That's what the text says. Remaining silent about evil effectively endorses it. See? Think about this, brothers and sisters. When Christ saw people being exploited in the temple, when he saw people being taken advantage of, he had great righteous indignation. Okay? And our channel is here to help you find your righteous indignation, to speak out against wickedness and evil that has engulfed culture. Okay? When believers choose to stay silent and fail to voice their opposition to wrongdoing, they unintentionally help to sustain the immoral behavior. Okay? God teaches us that we need to recognize and name evil for what it truly is in order to eliminate it. See that, brothers and sisters? We should be grateful that individuals are starting to demonstrate courage by speaking out against the irrationality of the LGBT movement.
Good afternoon, Julia. You know my pronouns are they, them. How are you doing?
Yeah. Thank you for telling me your pronouns. I use correct grammar. So the only thing I would need to refer you to is to your face would be you. But I'm not being rude. You can choose your pronouns. You can choose what you want to call yourself, but you don't get to require me to use incorrect grammar and factually incorrect things. You're not a plural. You're a one person, and you're a female person. So I will use she and her. Thank you very much.
Do what you like, I guess.
Well, there you are. You didn't need to tell me then, did you?
Maybe I'm just making sure people know in case they're watching and they want to refer to me respectfully.
Is it disrespectful for me to use correct factual grammar?
It's not incorrect or unfactual grammar to use singular they them pronouns for an individual. But we're here to talk about the cast review.
Yeah, but you chose to bring it up.
You chose to use the incorrect pronouns for me.
I chose to use the correct pronouns for a single woman who is appearing on my show.
I'm not a single woman, though. I'm a very special non-binary trans person, as you just pointed out. I
didn't
really
just point that out.
In the crowd.
I didn't just point that out. I introduced you as a journalist and a Virgin Radio presenter.
No, just before I came on, you were talking about how people with all these labels like to be special. And I'm just making sure that everyone knows I'm special.
The Bible underscores the crucial importance of bringing sin into the light as a fundamental step towards overcoming it, brothers and sisters. Okay, people are fed up with the indoctrination of children, and they're starting to resist the woke ideology. Okay, people are starting to rebel against the ideology. Why? They're fed up with the young people being brainwashed and indoctrinated by devils and devil worshipers. Okay, that's what we see. God has begun to give believers a spirit of courage to start opposing evil and dragging this sin into the light so it can be properly examined. Okay? We should express our gratitude to the Most High for the people standing up, brothers and sisters. We need to express our gratitude to the Most High for the people challenging the prevailing narratives that have often gone unchallenged. Okay, many people are increasingly frustrated with the pervasive indoctrination of children. Okay, and we're going to talk about it. Why? A growing wave of people have begun expressing their frustration and dissatisfaction with the way young people are being influenced and manipulated. Remember, the media made a concerted effort to intentionally downplay UFC champion Sean Strickland's remark against the LGBT movement.
We've got a pretty supportive gay and lesbian community in this city. I did want to ask you about something you wrote a couple of years ago. You said, if I had a gay son, I would think I'd...
Oh, look, another. I'm saying to you, the swamp, you guys, the swamp.
You become a champion, you become a star, and someone says...
Let me ask you something. Are you gay?
Have you had the chance to interact with a more diverse
Let me know, are you gay?
Can I get an answer?
Well, no, I'm asking, this is a part of, are you a gay man?
I'm an ally of the community.
Okay. If you had a son and he was like, you had a son, he was gay, you'd be like, oh man, you don't want a grandkid?
No problem with it.
Oh man, well, dude, you're a weak fucking man, dude. You're part of the fucking problem. You elected Justin Trudeau, like, when he sees the bank accounts, like, you're just fucking pathetic. And the fact that you have no fucking backbone, and has he shut down your fucking country and seized bank accounts? You ask me some stupid shit like that, go fuck yourself. Move the fuck on, man.
That doesn't really answer the question, but I did want to ask also things you said about the trans community. You said this past October when they announced the Bud Light sponsorship that you'd go so hard on Bud Light in your next fight, they'll have to accept me or denounce me. When
10 years ago, to be trans was a mental fucking illness. And now all of a sudden, people like you have fucking weaseled your way into the world. You are an infection. You are the definition of weakness. Everything that is wrong with the world is because of fucking you. And the best thing is the world's not buying it. The world's not buying your fucking bullshit you're fucking peddling. The world is not saying, you know what? You're right. Fucking chicks have dicks. The world's not saying that. The world's saying, no, there are two genders. I don't want my kids being taught about, who they could fuck in school. I don't want my kids being taught about, their sexual preference. Like, dude, this guy is the fucking enemy. You want to look at the fucking enemy to our world? It's that motherfucker right there.
Brothers and sisters, follow us to Matthew 24 and 21. Okay, we're going to read verse 21 and 22. The title of today's broadcast, The Rise of the Woke Agenda. Okay, Matthew 24 and 21 reads, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world until this time, nor ever shall be. Verse 22 reads, and except those days should be shortened, there should be nobody saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. We're going to break this down, brothers and sisters, okay? Because this was Christ talking prophecy, talking the culture of the earth upon the last days. Okay, Matthew 24 and 21 reads, for then shall great tribulation, for then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of this world to this time. No, nor ever shall be. Verse 22 reads, and except those days be shortened, there should be no flesh saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Brothers and sisters, Christ suggests that as we near the second coming, the world will experience greater corruption, which will lead to his sooner return. All right, that's what the passage tells. The Bible foretells that moral decline in society will worsen to the point where divine intervention will be required. See that? Christ's warning underscores the pressing state of our society, stressing the necessity for his timely return to bring back order. We're totally out of order. And this is what Christ was highlighting here. Okay? He says Christ is going to have to come back sooner in order to bring judgment on earth because the earth has just gotten way too wicked. Okay? They're promoting death. And this is what Christ says. People would be dead if Christ doesn't hurry up and come back. Why? We're living in a society, brothers and sisters. We have embraced a culture that promotes death, whether that's abortion, whether that's homosexuality. If everyone was a homosexual, the whole earth there would be no one inhabiting the whole earth. See that? Everything they push is death. The vaccinations, death. See that? Everything they promote in these passages suggest that a notable rise in immoral behavior will occur, leading God to hasten the return of Christ. See that? See? Brothers and sisters, we try to use the Bible in a way that shows brothers and sisters that the Bible is culturally relevant, more relevant than any time before. I've heard too many people say, well, the Bible was written for back then. Those people have not read the Bible. Those people have not stumbled upon our page because we're showing you how the Bible is culturally relevant today. Notice, brothers and sisters, the scripture forecasts that mainstream culture will encourage unprecedented levels of immorality. See? These passages suggest that as the world nears its end, there will be an increase in moral decline. See that? There will be an increase in corruption within society. This is what Christ prophesied. Are we not there today? Are we not there today? Because Christians will tell you, well, no, tribulation is when Christ comes back, right? Christ will come back and then take people into heaven. Then there'll be tribulation. My brother, we're in tribulation right now. Have you not heard? Have you not seen? This is tribulation. See that? The change in societal norms is largely driven by the impact of popular media, which significantly influences people's values and actions. Okay, the Bible implies that there is an anticipation for popular culture to increasingly contribute to moral decline. See that? We are in the worst time, culturally speaking, okay? We are in the worst time than any other in the history of civilization. Okay, birth certificates, right? Birth certificates now have 3 options. Driver's license now have 3 options. These passages indicate that popular culture is anticipated to lead an unprecedented decline in moral standards throughout human history. Okay? Many people do not recognize or realize that an increasing number of parents today are choosing to raise their children outside of the conventional gender norms, okay? Many parents are allowing their children to choose their own gender identity, overlooking the sex they were assigned at birth.
We have heard of people who identify as non-binary using the pronoun they or their instead of he or she. But what about this? Having a they be instead of a baby. It's a new term that some parents are using to show that they're bringing up their offspring gender neutral. It's a very interesting situation. Just tell us a little bit about Sparrow. Are you able to even say how Sparrow was, what gender Sparrow was born, or is that something you avoid talking about altogether?
Well, the whole point of gender is that we don't know Sparrow's gender yet. As far as what their anatomy is, we do choose to keep that private, to a short list of caregivers.
Now, this was not the situation, was it, with Hazel, who was your first child? Because Hazel,
yes,
you did bring up in, as a little girl.
Well, I did assign binary pronouns to Hazel initially, yes. And then when they were older, they articulated a preference for using they, them pronouns.
Right, just so I get my head around all this, obviously very complicated. Not to you, but it's complicated to me. So let me try and let's just lay this out. Explain your domestic setup. You're married, is that right?
Yes, I'm in a multi-adult family. There's 3 of us that are raising 2 children, an 8-year-old and my 1-year-old.
And how would you describe yourself? You were born biologically male, or how would you describe
I'm non-binary. Yeah, I'm non-binary, which means that I don't identify as a man or a woman, and I use they, them pronouns.
Okay, and your wife or partner, is it a wife? How would you describe your other half?
Well, all of the adults in my household identify as transgender or non-binary.
Right, and you're only married to one, or you're married to both?
Legally married to one.
Right,
in a relationship with another.
So the one you're legally married to, what is their name?
Bren.
Bren, and Bren identifies as?
A woman.
A
Uses
woman.
she, her.
And she was born a woman and remains identifying as a woman?
Yeah. Yeah, she's a woman.
Okay, and who's the third member of the setup?
My partner, Luna, who uses they, them pronouns as well.
And Luna is male or female? Or?
Non-binary.
Non-binary. And, okay, but you're not married to Luna?
No.
Okay, and you have 2 children in the house?
Yes.
Okay, and just to clarify again, Sparrow, we don't know whether Sparrow was born male or female because you haven't said that. The Sparrow is now non-binary?
No, Sparrow is, I would say, anti-gender, which is a term, that means before gender. Like, all children, at this age are developmentally not able to really understand gender yet. It's just something that they don't have the understanding for. So it's not that the child is non-binary, it's that the child just doesn't have any gender yet.
Right, but the child, look, let me try and get my head around this.
Obviously they do have anatomy.
Right, yeah. So what anatomy does Sparrow have?
Well, that's something that we don't usually discuss unless it's necessary with maybe a medical professional or, a caregiver.
Right, so...
Ari, I just wonder if I can intervene here, because I think that a lot of people find this very confusing. And it's because people think that if you are born with biological anatomy that indicates that you're either male or female, then therefore you have that gender identity. You're a man or a woman. But can you explain why you think that that isn't helpful, that the anatomy that you are born with biologically shouldn't dictate your identity? Because I think that's the sort of bigger point that your situation is trying to get to, isn't it? That when you're born with certain genitals, society decides how you should act. And as far as I'm trying to understand it, that is what you're railing against. Am I right?
Yes, it's a great question and a great clarification. What it is that, yes, commonly people born with one type of anatomy will identify with one gender, people with different anatomy will identify with another, but that totally negates the fact that there are legitimately thousands of people all over the world for whom that is not the case.
Many of us were unaware that in today's societies, there is a growing trend among parents to raise their children without traditional gender roles. Okay, some parents are allowing their children to choose their own gender identity, regardless of the sex they were assigned at birth. Okay, consider that. These parents have been influenced and indoctrinated by Satan to abuse their children through the concept of free will, free choice. Think about that. Okay. In my opinion, homosexuals should be prohibited from adopting children due to being considered mentally ill based on centuries of scientific studies. Homosexuality, transgenderism, is a mental illness, has been for the last 200 years. Okay, it's only recently that now they have changed how that is categorized. See that? A significant amount of the wrongdoing prevalent in society remains concealed. So our church, our platform aims to keep our audience informed. Okay, remember, the media is attempting to conceal the reality that lawmakers are placing biological men in women's prisons to further their political agendas. Okay, they've hidden this, brothers and sisters. Prisons nationwide that were originally designed for biological women are now accommodating biological men. Women in these prisons are facing sexual assault and becoming pregnant due to the presence of biological men as a result of decisions made by lawmakers.
Tonight, a special report on what's taking place inside California's female prisons. In September 2020, Governor Gavin Newsom signed Senate Bill 132 into law, requiring prisons to house inmates based on their chosen gender identity. Now, biological men are sharing prison cells with terrified women, and one woman is reportedly pregnant. NTD's Grace Coulter has the story.
In California, biological male criminals are allowed to be housed in female prisons if they identify as women. Women's Liberation Front, or WOLF, a feminist organization which is in direct contact with inmates and staff, tells NTD that at least one woman in Central California Women's Facility is pregnant as a result of the male inmates. Because pregnancy is private health data, the reports cannot be verified with the prison.
Some of the men have been rounded up and put in segregation on the yard where the woman who is supposedly pregnant. So they've taken 3 of them and put them in administrative segregation.
Lauren Adams is Wolf's legal counsel. She says several weeks ago, the prison began giving out condoms and providing information about inmates' options if they get pregnant. At the time, Wolf called the new resources a tacit admission by officials that women should expect to be raped when housed in prison with men, where all sex is considered non-consensual by default within the system. Adams says she thinks many people picture someone like Laverne Cox from Orange is the New Black when they think of transgender prisoners, but she says this is far from the truth. Many of the ones now housed in female prisons still look like men, and some, she said, are reportedly not taking their hormones, and one has grown a beard. And worse yet, Adams says some of the men that have been transferred into women's prisons are sex offenders.
One of the men who is in the yard where the pregnant woman is and who has been put in segregation is a sex offender. He has been convicted of multiple forcible rapes, but that's not what he's serving time for this time.
She says another male inmate housed in the California Institution for Women is serving time for molesting 2 children. As of April, around 250 biological male prisoners filed requests to transfer to women's prisons. So far, only about 20 transfers have been processed. None have been denied. Numerous women have written to Wolf saying they're terrified.
Having to use the toilet in front of men, having to shower in front of men. It's demoralizing and humiliating. We have religious women in there who, as part of their practice of their religion, rely on sex separation. And so on a daily 24-hour basis, they're being, that right's being infringed upon. It's really unreal.
Women are no longer being protected. We have biological men being housed with biological women in prison. Don't these women have rights? Don't these women, though they're in jail, don't they deserve to be protected? This is what the woke agenda has brought. Okay, the people who are losing the most are women and children. Women and children are getting the brunt force of Satan's ideologic stances. Okay, we're having women being sexually assaulted because lawmakers want to promote their political agenda. Okay, we have to wake up. Men need to stand up. Okay, that's why this channel is so important for brothers and sisters, because we give you insight into problems that are going on in society, and we give you a unbiased biblical viewpoint on how to approach these stances, approach these topics, how to approach all of the wickedness that has become so popular in today's culture. Brothers and sisters, follow us to the book of Romans, the 6th chapter. Brothers and sisters, we're here at Romans 6:16, and it reads, "Know ye not that to who you yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom ye obey, whether of sin unto death or of obedience unto righteousness." Let's take a look at this one more time. Romans 6:16, it reads, "Know ye not that to whom you yield yourselves servants to obey, his servants ye are to whom you obey." Brothers and sisters, examine that. The text teaches that obedience involves submission, indicating that no individual is completely free from authority. Everyone ultimately serves a master. See that? Take a look. The biblical understanding of freedom differs significantly from the worldly perception of it. Right? When you think about those who claim the LGBT identity, they allow the identity to determine their beliefs. Because I'm LGBT, I believe this. Because I'm LGBT, I believe that. Because I'm LGBT, I do this. They have become a servant to the LGBT identity. You never want to wrap your whole being, right, your identity up in your sexuality. Okay, people who are heterosexuals don't walk around and say, because I'm heterosexual, I believe this. Because I'm heterosexual, I do that. And see, this is the sickness. This is the woke mind virus, okay, that has become so influential in our modern day culture. Okay, Paul demonstrates that we become enslaved by those whom we consistently yield our obedience. See that? So many of those transgenders and homosexuals, many of them, most of them have become slaves to the rainbow flag. Okay, and when you do that, guess what? The LGBTQ plus, the plus is the P, pedophilia. That's what the plus is. Okay, silent P, pedophilia. And guess what? Since you are a component, since you are a member of the community, you're going to embrace it. You will embrace it. Why? Because they will tie it in with the Rainbow Coalition. Okay, in this verse, serving our fleshly desires means becoming a slave to it, indicating that our desires hold the position as master. Okay, the passage suggests that the United States has aligned itself more with evil influences than with biblical principles. See that? The Bible suggests that when you align yourself with a particular ideology, you become a servant of that ideology. And it has been evident, brothers and sisters, that the United States lawmakers have kneeled at the altar of the LGBT. See that? These passages reveal to us how the United States has become so subservient to the LGBT ideology. Most people don't know that the US government has made considerable efforts to cater to the LGBT community in an attempt to normalize homosexuality. Okay, most American citizens are totally unaware that the U.S. military is producing recruitment videos that promote the LGBT lifestyle.
It begins in California with a little girl raised by two moms. I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age. When I was 6 years old, one of my moms had an accident that left her paralyzed. But she tapped into my family's pride to get back on her feet, eventually standing at the altar to marry my other mom. And after meeting with an Army recruiter, I found it. A way to prove my inner strength. I'm U.S. Army Corporal Emma Malone Lord, and I answered my calling.
The U.S. military is making significant efforts to endorse the LGBT community, demonstrating who holds the authority. Okay, the U.S. military is currently at its weakest point in history, and this decline is attributed to the inclusion of individuals with mental health issues within the ranks. Okay, people with mental health issues should be prohibited from serving in the military because it poses a risk to other people. Simple as that, right? We can't include mentally ill people within the ranks of the military. Okay? The military, including the Air Force, is attempting to instill a sense of indoctrination into their personnel by compelling them to adopt gender-neutral language. Yes, in the Air Force. Many people are totally unaware that the U.S. military is requiring its service members to adopt gender-neutral language. This rainbow ideology has infiltrated, it has permeated the entire nation, starting with the military, brothers and sisters. Okay, freedom of speech in the military is restricted as soldiers are compelled to use gender-neutral language in their communication.
The U.S. Air Force Academy has gone woke. One of its diversity and inclusion training presentations instructs cadets to use gender-neutral language. So, mom and dad are out, and caregiver or parent are in. The guidance also asks cadets to substitute y'all or folks for you guys, and partner for boyfriend or girlfriend. The Academy is also promoting a fellowship program, but straight men need not apply. The application says, quote, if you are a cisgender woman, a transgender woman, non-binary, agender, bigender, two-spirit, demigender, gender fluid, gender queer, or another form of gender minority, this program is for you. If you are a cisgender man, this program isn't for you. Guy, I can't imagine what could be more destructive to unity or morale, as Congressman Waltz put it, than this kind of divisive parsing language.
Cisgender men are out, including gay men, apparently. We're out of this program. Look, I understand there's affinity programs, and fine. What gets me more is mom and dad. Really? We can't say that anymore at the Air Force Academy.
Totally.
Caregivers. No one talks like this. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like boyfriend, girlfriend, it's fine. Let people just use words that have been used for all of time. It's not offensive. We can be inclusive and empathetic to people who are different without rewriting our entire language in the way that we speak. And for the military to be involved in this, I mean, talk about a distraction from the actual mission. This would be, I think, a glaring example.
Brothers and sisters, follow us to the book of Proverbs, the 5th chapter and the 22nd verse, and it reads, his own iniquities shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sins. Take a look at this. Proverbs 5:22 reads, his own sins shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be held with the cords of his sins. Brothers and sisters, the Bible warns us here that persistent immorality will lead to our downfall as a country. Okay, a close examination of the passage reveals that supporting and accepting immorality ultimately leads to the destruction of all that is good. See that? When the verses are closely examined, it becomes clear that condoning immorality eventually results in the downfall of every institution. America is no different. Okay, here it is, the military, the Air Force, embracing homosexuality in its ranks. And we think this is not going to have any effect on us as a country. We think this isn't going to have any effect on how neighboring governments and militaries around the world view us. We as Americans have become so smug and arrogant. Okay. While immorality may seem enticing, the Bible warns that the appearances are usually misleading because it always does what? It always leads you into destruction. Okay, the devil knows how to make immorality, debauchery look enticing, but the results are always the same. Okay, the passage suggests that while America is perceived as a great nation by others, it is ultimately undermining itself with these types of ideologies. Okay, despite Hollywood's portrayal of America as a powerful nation, this text suggests that it's actually facing internal destruction. See that? It's going on internally. You can't necessarily see the indoctrination and what type of effect the indoctrination has had on the country if you don't live within the country. Okay, the text suggests that the liberties granted by America, which allow individuals to act against God's will ultimately invite the downfall of America. Okay, all branches of the military are promoting homosexuality, and they're no longer attempting to conceal it from us. Okay, brothers and sisters, the Navy is openly supporting the LGBT community by actively recruiting drag queens. Okay, when the most prominent nation in the history of civilization begins to openly enlist men who indulge in wearing women's apparel, chaos will soon follow.
And as the Navy struggles with hitting recruitment goals, it's trying something new by embracing the LGBTQ plus community. It's a new program that uses digital ambassadors, including one member who identifies as queer and a drag queen. It's new territory for both. Pix 7's Kirsten Cole explains.
This is the Navy many of us picture, fit and fearless sailors defending our nation. But this is also the Navy, a push to show just how inclusive the armed services can be and is.
The adventure is what has kept me in the Navy. Even now, I never thought I'd be able to do drag. And serve at the same time. I am an administrative clerk.
Yeoman Second Class Josh Kelly has served for 7 years and was recently tapped by the Navy to be a digital ambassador for 6 months. Josh, known as Harpy Daniels to their million-plus TikTok viewers, rocking a drag queen feed. The Navy's hope is that people like Kelly will help to attract the most talented and diverse workforce and combat plunging recruitment.
There were hopes, of course, to gain people to want to be recruited, but also to show people that are also in the service too that, hey, sailors like me are here, we exist, we can.
Brothers and sisters, follow us to the book of Galatians, the 6th chapter, the 7th and the 8th verse. Galatians 6 and 7 reads, "Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap." Take a look at that, brothers and sisters. Verse 8 reads, "For he that sows to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that sows to his spirit shall of the spirit reap life everlasting." Take a look at that, brothers and sisters. Let's examine verse 7 one more time. Galatians 6 and 7 reads, "Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever a man sows, that shall he also reap." Take a look at that, brothers and sisters. The Bible teaches that no matter how concealed one's actions may be, they will ultimately be revealed and brought into the light. See, that Paul teaches us that the actions made in secret will ultimately come to light and be exposed. See? Consider that. right? The Lord teaches us that regardless of how long a person may escape the consequences of their actions, the truth will ultimately be revealed. See that? The text is clear. The text suggests that although America has been in power for a long time, the dominance will eventually come to an end. You reap what you sow. See that? According to the text, America cannot continue to endorse this kind of immoral behavior without facing repercussions. It's clear, and I need American citizens, I need believers to really examine this passage. Okay, the US government's promotion of homosexuality has led to the LGBT community being forced upon the public. Okay, the military, who has traditionally relied on the strength and courage of masculine men, is now facing a significant shift in its demographic makeup. Okay, the military, which was founded on strong masculine men, has now been infiltrated by homosexuals.
Our Jonathan Cotto brings us a story of the first transgender military training instructor in the Air Force.
Brandon Rodriguez is a military training instructor for the 321st Training Squadron at Joint Base San Antonio Lackland and has been serving for over a decade.
I just hit 15 years last month, June 13th of 2007.
Serving as a military training instructor, a lifelong goal.
This is something that I was fighting for about 6 years, and I finally got here, so this means a lot to me.
And it means a lot because
I enlisted as a female, and I did my first 10 years-ish as a female.
He started his transition in May of 2017 and says the biggest difference between Brandy and Brandon is his drastically improved mental health.
This is who I am, and I've been searching for this person for a long time.
The United States has consistently maintained a position of dominance, but it has become increasingly clear that America's period of supremacy is approaching its conclusion. Okay? This passage is a reminder that while America may have held dominion for centuries, that era of time is approaching the end. Okay? Now we have homosexual transgender drill instructors. America has now given leadership roles to men wearing women's clothes and women wearing men's clothes. Consider that. Consider the indoctrination of the soldiers who now have to kneel to the leadership of a transgender. Okay, it is simply not achievable for the United States to endorse this kind of moral decay without eventually facing repercussions. Okay, the title of today's broadcast, brothers and sisters, the rise of the woke agenda. Today, we wanted to show you just how far this woke mind virus has gone. We wanted to show just how this agenda has infiltrated all industries throughout the earth, not just in America, not just in the military, not just in the education system. Okay, even amongst the toy retailers, we find this debauchery. Okay, our channel, brothers and sisters, is to inform brothers and sisters about what is going on in society. We know many of you are hard workers, have children, and a plethora of other things that you're trying to keep up with. It is our duty to keep you informed, brothers and sisters, so you can have these talks with other brothers and sisters and speak from a biblical perspective. The title of today's broadcast, The Rise of the Woke Agenda. We want to say, Kwam Yasharallah, sin no more.